Oh, I was muted. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Thank you, Khadijah. It is like I muted myself just supposed to be temporarily, and I did not realize. Okay, I'm going to start all over. Okay. Thank you, audience, for saving me. All right, I am okay. Got it. It's fixed now. So sorry. This is Michelle. I am located in central Mexico in San Miguel de Allende. I am the founder of Casa and most recently Hacienda Elm. We'll talk a little bit about that. If this is your first time here, thank you for coming to my channel. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't. Feel free as well to go to my websites, casaelm.com, and subscribe. You'll get our emails, our email blast, and all the things in terms of information about what's going on here in San Miguel de Allende. I have lived here for over 7 years as a foreigner living in Mexico. Whatever you want to title that, as expat, immigrant, foreigner, stranger in another land, all the things. I love living in Mexico, so I definitely promote life in Mexico. I help those who are interested in relocating to Mexico. So check out our relocation programs and all the things that you need to know in regard to relocating, with as much information as possible. If you follow me, and if you have not followed me, please go to my lives and you can see so much information that I hope will be useful for you in regard to making your moves, and the things that you can avoid in terms of pitfalls, and or just be ready for resources and all the things. There's so much to know in that process, and there are so many things that can kind of throw you off your rocker. And yeah, I see it happen often, and then I see people, make a bounce back from it. Sometimes they don't. And it just can really throw things off sometimes. So I always kind of suggest as much research that you can put into the process. Don't just fall into the kind of the glitz of the situation. I think it is really cool when you can move abroad and kind of like talk about it and tell people, but then there's also, the underbelly of living abroad and the things that can be challenging that oftentimes can throw us off and make, this kind of experience a little bit more like gray. And we're going to talk about that. And even me being here 7 years later, I have had a recent experience that I wanted to share with you guys and just kind of hopefully help you somehow be prepared or be in the know for the things that we don't always get good clarity from the locals in regard to a lot of things. So we'll get into that in a little bit, but I want to say welcome to Khadijah. Hey, Shauna, how are you? Welcome. Welcome, Julie. How are you? Hi, Michelle. Welcome. Hi, Cheryl. How are you all? Looking forward to seeing you all again. Thank you. Thank you so much, Shauna. I appreciate that. Yeah, we had a really nice time last week. I had my half-week relocation tour, and it was just so beautiful. For me, it's always extra beautiful when my guests just kind of click, and it's so beautiful. I don't know how else to explain it, to see when they click and it feels like they've known each other for such a long time. And then there's like kind of like these light bulb moments that go off where their, spirits are lifted and they're optimistic and they are enthusiastic about coming back and really kind of immersing themselves a bit more and more into life in Mexico. So I just want to say, thank you so much, Shauna, for being so amazing in your good energy, and thank you to Tina for trusting in this process. It was really beautiful to hang out with you all, to do the things, and also just to see the synergy between the two of you, and also all the people you got to meet and the things that we got to share in that experience. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. So this is a great leeway for me to jump into what's coming. First, and I always do my housekeeping. First, I want to say thank you to Michelle Watson of Ingenuity. You can see her, Miss Ingenuity, and SpiceCompany.com. She is our official tea sponsor. And of course, I have your book here. So if you haven't seen this already, this is her book. Make sure you go to her website. Right, I don't know if you can see it. There's like a little bit of a glare from my ring light, but she has this book that is written for beautiful Black women. However, I'm sure there's a lot of really crucial and beneficial information for all bodies. So feel free to go to her website and check it out. Hola, Rob. Buenas tardes and welcome. Welcome, Sandra. I appreciate you being here. And keep checking in. Feel free to tell people where you're checking in from. Hi, Angel. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you all and all those who come through. I know I don't always get to post everyone who participated in all of our relocation tours to date. I feel like I've had, let me see, January, February, March, April, into May, June. So I've had 5 relocation tours this year, and they've all been amazing. Like, all my guests have been beautiful. It's been really just a grand experience. We have another one coming up in July, and we have another in September and one in November. That's it for the year. So if it's something you're interested in doing, please go to the website and check it out. But as I was saying with Michelle, I just want to finish that point. Michelle has been our official tea sponsor for Ingenuity and Spice Company for the last few years. She actually launched her product here 2 years ago when we had an influencer weekend at Casa. And her teas are amazing, so please make sure you check them out. And if you become a guest in the future, you can get to try the different flavors, because I always have like multiple bags available in the kitchen. So it's always a good way to just kind of say, oh, I really like this one, I really like that one. So I just wanted to put that out there. Check her out when you get a chance. And in regard to the events, so let me share with you a great place for you to find out what's happening at Casa Elm. Right here are my events for the rest of this year. I actually did a free webinar last Monday, planning to do another free webinar this coming Monday at 6 p.m. my time, Central Mexico time. So if you're on the East Coast, it's 8:10 for you. It's actually 6:10 for me. That's a great way to know more, how to prepare, what's San Miguel like. It's not a session for you to ask 1 million questions about how to move. It's just kind of to learn a little more about the city, Casa Elm, and the things we offer. And just like, if you really are interested, you can ask some questions that will kind of help you make the decision on whether you want to come or, you want to explore a little bit more, whatever it is. So if you are interested in doing that, please go to this link and you can see where there's the free listed webinar. You can just register. All you have to do is sign up with your name and email address, and that's it. And show up next Monday. And the courtesy of showing up, because I had some people who registered last week and some of them didn't show up. And that's okay. I'm not beating you up about it, but it's just kind of one of those things where I want to get on and I want to share with you. So we'll see how it goes this coming week. I'm supposed to do one this coming Monday. And then the following Monday, I may just do a recorded version and put it on YouTube and advertise it that way. So if anyone has questions, feel free to do that. And yes, I will talk about the Hacienda opening in a bit. It's on my list. Hi, Lisa, and thank you. Yes. I'll get to it. Just give me 1 second. So there's that. And also, I want to talk about our upcoming October meetup, and this is another great way for you to come and hang out and learn more. We still have 2 spaces available from the stay at Casa Elm standpoint, and then there will be general tickets and things. And I do have a webinar that's scheduled. Again, check on the events page. I think it's scheduled for sometime possibly in July, but I will talk about it on Monday, this coming Monday as well. So if you are interested in doing that, please feel free to show up and ask those questions, and you can book your space, and then it gives you time to pay for it. But all the details are at this link. It's October 16th through the 20th, and on those dates, we have 3 activities that will happen. The first activity will be a rooftop meetup, which is always fun. Really good food, good company, and all the things. And then on Saturday, there's a city tour, which is amazing because you learn a lot about the city. You get to see some of the sights and things and learn like some history behind it. Each tour guide that I've done tours with, they always have like their little special nook of something that I didn't know about that I get to learn about, and it's really amazing. Just all like the little secrets that the city holds. And then on Sunday, we have our brunch at a vineyard, which is beautiful. So check it out when you get a chance. Excuse me. Let's see, what else we want to cover. Also, we have Dia de los Muertos, which is being hosted by my good friend Anne-Marie. And there are no more spaces left at Casa Elm for that, but I know that there are some hotel spaces still available, so feel free to check that out at this link as well that I just posted. And there you can just get the details on cost when it closes. I believe it closes in a few weeks. So if that's something you are interested in doing, feel free to go there and check out the details and the cost and what deposits you have to put down. And I also want to just say, before I get into the opening, people for some reason think I only do relocation tours and that's it. Like my whole house is only for a tour. Well, as much as that is my main thing, we do also host people that are solo travelers. So if you just want to come to San Miguel and you just want to stay at Casa Elm, you can, okay? Here's the book a room link, because I get this question often, and I'm kind of always curious, like, how did you find us, and did you see, or did you get stuck anywhere on the web, on the site, or anything like that? So I just like to kind of keep reiterating that we do have rooms that are available. If you go to this, you can book a room directly, or you can feel free to send us a message, but that you can see what the prices are per night and the different rooms that we have available. We have a queen, 2 junior king suites, and a king suite. So this kind of gives you an idea of what those spaces look like, and etc. Okay, now what's the new thing? Hacienda Elm. It was really beautiful. All right, if you haven't heard of it yet, so that's my new project. I am typing the website in here so you have it if you want to go look at it, and this is your first time here. Again, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. But this is the link to haciendaelm.com. We are completely 2 separate locations. Casa Elm, that's my guest house space, and Hacienda Elm is my supported independent living for people who are aging. Okay, I want to emphasize I'm not a nursing home. Okay, I am not a nursing home. I am a space for older people to live in community. There will be support, for example, helping you with your medicine, managing that. It's an all-inclusive idea and space where it's promoted to help you basically have a more sustainable existence that helps with mental health, being in community, not living alone, not aging alone. For those who are caregivers, if you need a space where your loved one can be and, be cared for and under some kind of 24/7, there's staff. If there is an emergency, we can, help. We'll call people in. We have doctors on call. We'll have, someone that's trained in terms of the nurse type thing. So that's the idea, right? And I learned about this concept of community. I've always been about community. I'm a community builder, period. But in terms of really learning and living it is through Casa Elm. I learned this here, how I see people coming together and really, supporting each other, gelling more, and really just kind of enjoying themselves with each other and not being in a space where, oh, I landed in San Miguel, I don't know anyone, I don't know where to go, I don't know what to do. And now I landed in the soft landing, right? That's what Casa Elm is. And I'm able to connect and I'm able to have constant social interaction if I want it. And then there are those that are more introverted. I understand and respect that too. But I feel that as we age, it's healthier for us to be in community and not be alone. And that's what Hacienda Elm is. So Hacienda Elm is not a guest house space. It's a space for people to live. It's a residential setup where you'll have your own, suite, and all things will be a part of this. And it's a plan where you're all, we're doing things. We create. We're going to have activities and things that you can do. So, getting to the point is we had a beautiful grand opening this past Saturday, even though Mother Nature was like, I'm gonna rain all day, but I actually really loved the rain because the property was so beautiful and just extra green and just beautiful to look at. And the gardener guy cut all the grass and it just looked so lovely. And so it felt like going into kind of like this big meadow of green grass and fruit trees, and the swimming pool was not full because we're still kind of working some things out, but it just looked lovely. The rain's coming down, and then we have three areas that kind of are like a rock garden, and it's like all the lavender and rosemary and whatever's out there. It just looked really lovely. I have a giant, I know some of you don't probably believe in certain religions. It's okay, but I love the Buddhist religion because I just feel like they respect nature. It's very peaceful to me. It's very calming. So I have my big Buddha outside that was not there before. I actually had it made. And, that's like my Buddha garden. And it's just meant to bring a lot of peace, tranquility, balance to this space. Like when you walk in to Casa Elm, it's calming, and I want that to be the same over there. Synergy, energy is super duper important to me. What and who's in the space, it's important. Good energy is what I believe in and I subscribe to all the time. From my workers, I want them to be happy. So when they touch your pillows, and I say your for my future residents and even my guests, it is important to me that the person wants to be here. They're not grudging their situation. They're not working because they have to work and they need the money, and I don't really want to be here and I don't like Michelle or whatever. It's like, I want you here because you want to be here. Yes, you're earning a living, but you're happy to be a part of this process of what I'm building and creating. So all of these things are super important to me. I feel a lot, and that's how I operate. I operate in intuition and faith, and I keep moving down the lane. And yes, there are challenges along the way, but I'm very grateful for the life that I get to live. And so that's what Hacienda Elm is. So we had about 40 people maybe that came through. It was not a general open to the public. So if someone's watching this, say, hey, I wasn't invited, I didn't know about it. It was really kind of a word of mouth invite situation where I felt that I was going to invite folks that could strategically assist with promoting Hacienda Elm. And of course, others that are very close to me here in San Miguel and that I knew wanted to see it, maybe had not seen it yet. And so it was really beautiful to have everyone in the space and for just that, kind of thing to be left behind. People were excited to see the room. So we did a presentation, I kind of explained the purpose of Hacienda, what it's about, why, and what inspired me to create it, and what continues to inspire me, in addition to wanting to be and have a space for myself in the future, and maybe my mom and whomever else. So that needs it, and we never know where it grows from here. So even though it rained, it was really lovely. We started with the presentation, we had food, people were kind of talking and stuff like that. And then we kind of did the tour, like around, and I talked about the intentions of the space. And, we showed each of the rooms, and then we went outside to the back to look at the pool. But as I said, it was pouring rain, so we didn't go and walk the grounds and stuff. So people didn't get to experience the walking trail and all the things, but it was still very beautiful. So bear with me and my tardiness in posting more videos and reels and stuff. We're really focusing on now the whole process of how we bring people in and things like that. So if you are interested in this space for yourself or anyone that I'm going to tell you that there is another free webinar this coming Saturday, June the 11th. And I'm putting the link right here so you can feel free to join us. There is no charge. Okay, so when you click on this link, I hope that it brings you straight to the book a presentation. And when you go there, you can see that we have one this Saturday at 11 o'clock my time, and I will be on to talk more in details about Hacienda Elm, okay? So thank you all for well-wishing and all the things. I really, really, really appreciate you. Okay, let me acknowledge all the beautiful people in here. Let's see, I just want to make sure. Hi, Rob, welcome from Houston, but here in San Miguel welcome to San Miguel. I hope you're loving it. I hope San Miguel is hugging on you. Hi, Angel, thank you. I did say hi to you. Yes, Relocation Tours, thank you. Thank you, my dear. I got you, Lisa. I see you. Welcome, Doc, or DOC. Hey, I've seen your picture somewhere online. You're in Ajijic on your way to SMA in August through November. Okay, good. Excellent. I appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you all hit the like button. Thanks, Angel. Yes, hit the like button and make sure you subscribe. If you're watching on replay, feel free to drop a chat in there. I truly, truly appreciate it. Lisa, at this point, we're all stakeholders since we love you. I appreciate that. All right, I'm going to read this because someone made a comment to me that they can't always see the comments. And I said, well, you can see it in your chat, but they said they couldn't read it or see them because they were watching sometimes from their TV. So Lisa said, at this point, Michelle, we're all stakeholders since we love you and want you to succeed with all of your endeavors. Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate you so much. It's a lot of work. So if you want to help and contribute with anything, listen, it is best through word of mouth, right? Seriously, post it, share it with whomever, subscribe. If you see a reel or you see me talking about it here, share the video to individuals who may need something like this, and if you want to give financial help, feel free to reach out and let us know. I've had a few people who actually offered that, and I appreciate it. It's a lot. There's a lot going on, but I have a lot of faith in it. I do think that someone will be able to, multiple ones will be able to enjoy living in Hacienda hopefully in the near future. So it is going to be officially ready to receive residents by August the 1st. Okay. The process is going to be a little bit, to apply and all the things. Not a lot of time, but it's a little different because it's kind of more of a resident thing. We are doing you can do a 3-month contract if you want to try it on to make sure it fits you, and not have to sign like a lengthy contract. We're also not locking people in. So if you definitely are interested and you want to say, you know what, I'm going to come for 3 months. I want to see how it feels. If you need assistance, let's say you don't have your residence in Mexico, we can help you with that as well. So, we're going to allow people to try it on, but if you do intend to stay long term, you have to have your residence. And I'm just gonna be straight up about that because, we don't want to accept someone in a long-term living scenario and they're not Mexican residents, because we want you to be here legally so that there's no issues with the relationship and things like this. So it's important that that happens that way. But August the 1st, it's already ready, to be honest, but we're kind of structuring a few things on the back end. We have like our staff in place and things like that. We're creating our menus, nutrition wise, activities and all the things, and what do all those things look like. So you can learn more on Saturday. Again, if you want to learn more, go to haciendaelm.com, and there you can see when we are having our, what time on Saturday we're having our webinar. And if you're not able to attend that, we are willing to have a one-on-one with those individuals that are interested and kind of talk through what your scenario and situation is and if it's something that could be a good fit for you, okay? Hi, Danielle. Hacienda is an amazing space. So excited for this offering. Thank you. Thank you for coming out. Thank you. Thank you for your support. I loved your response to it. I appreciate you so much. I really do. So thank you. I appreciate that. Butterfly effect. I've shared with friends and will attend the presentation on Saturday as I'm reaching that age. Okay, excellent. I'm looking forward to it. So I appreciate everyone who is here to support that as well. And don't forget about Casa Elm. We're not closed. We're still open. I think some people thought I was kind of transitioning over to there. No, it's two separate locations. We're still both, funny enough, are almost equal distances to Central. It's just that with Hacienda, it's kind of a little bit more in like a kind of more of a country setting, but it's not far. So for anyone who might want to know, if you've been to San Miguel, we're approximately less than 10 minutes from the immigration office. If you know where the train tracks are, we're kind of like not far from there. And if you don't know, we're about a 15-minute drive to Center, like to get to the center of San Miguel. That means you'll still be where things are happening, Central Zone, but if you want to get into Central, we're about 15 minutes by car. It is in a more like Mexican Puebla, it's really beautiful because it's all enclosed in walls, so you don't even really know what's behind until we open the doors and you go inside. And it's just really on a beautiful piece of property with a lot of trees, nature, it's quiet and all the things. And I think it's a great place to, like I said, age in community, okay? And of course, Casa Elm, we're down here in Los Frailes. I also love it down here. This is where I live. So we're gonna have some amazing people working with us to facilitate. And lastly, in regard to Hacienda, next month, which is right around the corner, next week, right? I'm going to spend the entire month in my lives talking about the Hacienda, but also bringing on some special guests to talk about things that will really be applicable to the experience at Hacienda Elm. For example, why aging in community and having like that social connection is important, why it would be beneficial if this is something that you are interested in. We're going to try to bring in some experts to talk about that. I've been able to be in touch with like a gerontologist here, so I'm trying to get her on to talk about some of her experiences in working with other similar communities here in San Miguel. I'm actually going to speak to someone on the second week of July who brought her mom from the United States for care and why it's been more beneficial for her, things like this. I want to kind of give everyone like a good, well-rounded viewpoint of the care, because it's kind of the same concerns I think people will have. How's the health care? And this is kind of the same thing. It's like, what does that look like, and why is it beneficial for me to be there or to bring a loved one? So just letting you know, look out for that in July, okay? All right, let's move on to our topic tonight. So tonight's topic is, I want to give you reasons why I feel that locals kind of get a pass for, I'm going to just say bad behavior, unethical behavior. And I say unethical because it doesn't mean that the situation is wrong. It just means that it's not ethical in the way they might move and take advantage of things. Now, this is not a bash to every person. This is just, again, as I always say, I talk about my experiences on this channel and things that have come up, things that have been challenging, whatever that is. And I want to be completely transparent as much as I can. I don't tell everything, but I want to be transparent about why you should also look out for these things and how to protect yourself, possibly from someone trying to get over on you, because it happens. It happens in the US as well, in reverse. So I'm not going to act like, this is a Mexico thing. I'm just going to talk about how you can protect yourself and things that you should be aware of, and what things have happened to me where I just feel like it's important to share, and just be ready for those topics that could come up. So in saying that, I'll be as delicate as possible because I've already said enough about it on the back end. But I've had several people who've worked for me, either physically at my space or online in a virtual world. I even had them on my channel, and things were hunky-dory at the time. And then, as we moved through the work relationship, they just started falling apart. It's what I've learned with a lot of people who do freelance work is, no matter where they are, no matter what it is, they always start out strong, and sometimes things kind of fizzle, and they might get distracted by other jobs and other things that they're working on. And that's okay, right? Because they're not your full-time employee. I think the difference is that when you are working online with someone, one, you don't really know that person, right? You haven't met them. You're just a online relationship, right? And the work is, you agree on whatever that is, what that amount is, what that looks like for you. And, you figure out the job description, you give that to them, and then you figure out the payment, and you keep it moving. And sometimes if it doesn't work out, right, you just are like, okay, this isn't working out for me. So plenty of times I've had, in these probably more than 5 years, but about 5 solid years off on, I've worked with people in the Philippines. I've worked with people in the US. I've worked with people here in Mexico. And, a lot of the times it's a great relationship until maybe they have something else and they have to move on. And usually, we part ways, and that's it. We talk about whatever's what, and then we keep it moving. Well, I'll let you know that in Mexico, that relationship, if it's not defined in a contract in some way, no matter if you've met them or not, for example, if you are a person like myself, I have a business, a brick and mortar, and the person comes to your life in your work world, and they are online. Let's say you found them on Upwork or Fiverr.com, where there are a lot of people working, or you just posted on Facebook, hey, I'm looking for someone to do XYZ for me for, you choose the hours, but this is what I need help with, right? Well, they can claim to be an employee. And that's kind of what happened to me, and this person came on board, and one, I never met them in person. Just was like, okay, this is what I need help with. Here are the hours. I asked to be billed every week, which I was. I was billed under that person's business name, the services that they were providing. And then I basically moved forward with them asking me, like, okay, like how much time do you need or not need and things like that. And we basically settled on what that looked like and what the job description would be. And then the next thing I know is, you're starting out strong and, hold on one second. Sorry, my kiddo just came in. So I basically started with all the things of, here's what we're doing together, here's what we're working on, here's what it looks like, and all the things. And then it just started like slacking a bit more and more, like slacking off. And I started just feeling like, okay, what's happening? So let's have a conversation, like what's going on? And it went on for about 2 months of just the work wasn't feeling the way we started, right? And I'm still paying the same amount. I'm still paying, X amount per hour and all this stuff. And so I finally just got to a place where I was just like, okay, I'm gonna send an email. And I said, this isn't working out any longer in this capacity. So I no longer need the services that you provided as a freelancer. I was clear, made sure I said the things I needed to say. And I was just kind of like, I gave really strong examples of, hey, this arrangement wasn't made for this person. This wasn't done. It's been really difficult to get in touch with you, whatever. But sure enough, every Friday, here came the invoice, and I was just kind of like, what am I paying for here? And I could tell that they were caught up with a bunch of other things, just because you can, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, when the quality of work starts changing, right? And so the quality of the work really went down the drain over a course, slowly, but it was going down over a course of a couple, probably 2 months. And so in saying all of that, I decided, all right, this isn't gonna work out because I'm not really feeling very confident, and I'm finding myself doing the things that I'm paying someone else to do. And so in the end, I decided, okay, this isn't working out. I'm gonna just send a message and I'm gonna say A, B, and C. And a couple days later, this person decides to send an email demanding money. And I was just like, what? What are you talking about? First of all, we've never worked together in person, and we never had any advised a shorter work contract. Okay, I'm going to answer your question in a minute, Khadijah. And, I said we never had any kind of, commitment in terms of how or what you're doing in terms of work. Now, I have physical people who work here, and I have contracts with those people, and this is what they do. Their work hours, work days, how much they get paid per day, et cetera, et cetera. When you hire someone online, I have people in the Philippines, they're not coming to me and saying, oh, by the way, I need you to pay me, severance because whatever. It just, for me, coming from, of course, the culture of the US and how things work there, and it's not that I'm making comparative, it's just what I know until I know something different, right? And so this is why I'm sharing this with you all, is I know that when someone's even working 1 day a week for me cleaning my house, I need to have a contract that says, this is what you're doing, this is what your pay is, and even maybe defining like the jobs more specifically, not just, oh, they clean my house, like really defining it. What are the hours? What day of the week? When you pay them, have them sign. Technically, you're supposed to pay an insurance for them, and certain things that that the law could require or demand. Again, it's good, and it's good when it's good, and then it's not good when it's not good, right? But what I've found is that a lot of people, one, either don't really know, clearly what it's supposed to be written out as or how it should read. I've even found attorneys to not necessarily be very knowledgeable or clear. I should say clear. It always feels like, it's a case by case thing with no matter what it is, not just with the employee or person, but if something comes up, it's like a case by case. I'm just gonna use my brain to wheel around this problem, as opposed to this is the way it is and this is the way it should be. For example, over almost 2 years ago, I asked a whole separate attorney for contracts. I said I want to have a contract for my employees, the physical employees that are here, that are working for me, and I want to make sure that if anything comes up, that I have the right to let them go. How do I put that together, right? And the advice I got wasn't clear. And this is me talking to someone who speaks English, right? And I remember I had to let someone go because it just wasn't healthy in terms of her working with the other people that were working here physically as well. So I made the decision to let that person go. And I went through the proper processes, which was you hire someone, potentially an attorney. So I hired a different attorney to assist me with how to properly do this separation. They do a calculation based on how many, kind of like a severance, if you're in the US and you're laid off or whatever, it's kind of that same thing. And that's okay, right? Especially for someone physically working in your space. I was 100% fine with that. She was here for just a few months, and, and we talked about it, and it was like, okay, the attorney said, okay, this is what it would be, this is how much, and, we can offer this amount. I said, no, let's offer the full amount and let's keep it moving. And then what they do is they will go either in to the attorney, more than likely in the attorney's office. You give them power of attorney, they hand over the money that you're paying. It's usually not like, an arm and a leg. It's just whatever their severance, and then they calculate, maybe some vacation time and whatever. And so they go in, she went in, she signed everything, they got an ID, they got I think maybe even some fingerprint or whatever. I didn't even have to be there with her. I went in, I did my part, she went in, did her thing, and then that was it, okay? No problem, right? Even with the contract I had, it was just like very vague and didn't make any sense, even though I asked this previous attorney to give me this contract. Well, what I want to say from the unethical, dishonest standpoint is this other person decides that they're going to lie, right, and say that they were only working for me 5 days a week from 8 to 4, Monday through Friday, which wasn't true, right? I was like, well, what about all these messages of you not being available and all this stuff, right? And so then it just turns into this whole kind of back and forth, and honestly, a waste of time, a waste of energy. And what I found in the scenario is it just feels very opportunistic, especially from the standpoint of the not knowing, you're learning, oh, okay, I didn't know that I had to have a contract with somebody that was a freelancer. You understand what I'm saying? I have plenty of people that I've worked on Fiverr. I don't have a contract. I hire them through the platform, which I didn't hire this person through a platform, but the point is I found you online, and now suddenly you understand the laws better than me, right? So those are the things that I feel, are some of the reasons that people get a pass, and how can you protect yourself? And this is why I'm talking about it. So yes, having a contract with whomever, even the gardener, is recommended, because I do feel that when it comes to, that particular scenario, and, the locals understanding what they can loophole in and out of over what you can loophole in and out of, it's a pass. They get a pass for that. And they get a pass mostly because of the language, right? We don't understand everything, and we don't know everything. We can't really get real straight, clear answers and things like that. So sometimes, in the moment, it can feel very overwhelming. It's kind of like, well, and also very unfair, very unfair. But I always say this, with everything, right? I am a huge believer of, I don't know if I would use the word karma, but I would more say, if this is something and how you operate as a person, you're never going to be blessed. You will always struggle, right? And if I'm putting those words on you, they're just on you, period. So my thing is, I know that I operate in a space of great intentions, not even just good intentions, great intentions, where my guests that come, I don't look at it as a money grab, just an opportunity. I really look at the experience as a whole. I want people to come into my space, and I hope that they will leave feeling, blessed in some way, if I could choose those words. I hope that they will leave feeling loved on, supported, and all the things. And I also look at situations when they come up that feel, especially here in Mexico, negative or, challenging from a business standpoint. I'm like, what is it preparing me for, right? And I'll tell you, from a timing standpoint, it was perfect, right? So we went through this process of, email demand for money. I'm pretty much like, go fuck yourself. And then it's like, oh, okay, fine, da da da. And then, someone comes to my house and, they're like issuing these papers that, this person is demanding that I pay for whatever. And it's in a whole other part of Mexico. And it's just complete idiotic ridiculousness is all I can say. And I'm just literally like, okay, bring it, bring it on, because I still feel like I'm in the right, because I'm like, you are not working for me. You were never working for me in a capacity or whatever. What I learned in this process is really and truly having a contract, get the contract. Doesn't matter if they're just wiping a streak of dust off your car, right? This is what we hired you to do, and that's it. I find that here, I remember one of the attorneys back before saying the law is very formal. Now, when I think of formal, that means everyone understands the formal law and they kind of adhere to it, and it works this way. Maybe I'm misunderstanding formal in the word of how he described it. I feel that there is no formality. It is, whatever I interpreted today, and, I'm passing on to you, and we'll see what happens, because when I talk to other locals about things, I get this impression that they really don't know either, right? Because I've kind of kicked this around in the community of locals that I know, and honestly, no one has the same answers. And I know you guys have heard me say this before. And this is why I say unethical, because this individual literally facilitated a translated message to the two physical women who were working here about the contract and about the things that they were supposed to do and the understanding of things. never once said, oh, by the way, I should have a contract too, right? Not once, like, hey, I'm a freelancer. I don't work for you, but I should have a contract as well. Never once said this. So that tells me that you either have done this before, you're looking at it as an opportunity in the future to, get in someone's pockets and whatever. So the reason why I said it was perfect timing, because everything kind of came to a conclusion 1 week or so prior to my announcement about Hacienda Elm, and it just all felt right. And it wasn't planned this way, it just kind of happened, things move really slow. So this is something that has been going on since like last year, like the last quarter of last year. And so it kind of came to a conclusion just before I made this announcement about Hacienda. And I just kind of felt like, maybe they would have tried to let me squeeze a little bit more. And I remember saying to myself, you know what? Okay, like, I'm okay, right? I'm still fine. I learned something, and it also prepared me for my second business and what I need to do, and for everybody that, whatever. And I've always had the right intentions of hiring locally. Like, I want to hire people that are here, right? Because people talk about gentrification, and they talk about us always staying in our foreigner circle, our expat circle, our immigrant circle, and all the things. And that's not true. And not, when I say that, I don't mean like just, oh, somebody who cleans my house, right? So if someone is bilingual and they're able to help me with my job or my business, then I'm open to that. If I can hire a local person, for example, my accountant, who I can really communicate with, then I'm going to do that, right? If I can hire someone like my mechanic and I can communicate with them, of course I'm going to do that. I'm not going to, and trust me, there are foreigners that I can go to, right? There are people that I can go to that, are not necessarily Mexicans. They have their own business, and maybe there's a little bit more of a trustworthy factor, but I tend to want to pour into the local businesses and things like that, because I am a local business owner. But I know that, maybe having like more connectivity to somebody who's not from here, and you can build that relationship with them. Usually it comes with more than just fixing the car, right? There's something they might know that will be useful to you in some way. You can have a conversation with them. You can build a relationship and have like this exchange that might be more beneficial. And so I try to have these kind of relationships. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to answer. Let's see. Khadijah, would you advise a shorter work contract with contractors, maybe month to month instead, so that that you can gauge their work? Yes. You could do a contract, be very specific. And this is, again, if you have a brick and mortar, right? And this is me speaking from my experience, so always get assistance with whatever it is you're doing. If you have a brick and mortar space, right? Let's say, you have a guest house, whatever it is, and you're bringing in someone online that lives in Mexico. And I'm going to say this, and I don't care if anybody who's watching this wants to get upset. I'm not hiring another Mexican person online. It ain't happening. I'm sorry. That person has ruined it for all of you. Okay. I will continue working with my people on the ground, the people that come physically here that are locals. I will do that. Okay. I will also hire professionals, an accountant and tax person and whatever, because they are offering me a service. They are not my person. They're not a part of my business, and they can't claim as such, right? But I will not hire another VA that is in Mexico. It is what it is. So don't call me, don't write me, because it ain't happening. Okay. But what I will say is that I'm willing to still work with people that I can be in physical contact with, because I feel like I can get a better gauge for what you are doing in my space. And, we'll definitely have contracts and things like that for those things. But I just kind of want to give you all, like, for example, if someone's coming and cleaning your house, you should have a contract. If they're cleaning your yard, you should have a contract with them. It's all about contracts. And it seems like even with the contract, sometimes it can be bullshit. It's just one of those things. And I'll say this furthermore. So, like, if there are any locals watching this, please don't get mad, but I'm talking about my experiences. But I'm just going to be very honest. Like, I feel like even the attorneys who are supposed to be on your side are also looking at things as an opportunity, right? Now, for me, it's like, what is the long-term relationship that I'm going to have with you, right? If you kind of kept doing the work and the job the way you started, we would still be working together, right? I'm not looking for a reason to get rid of somebody at all. Like, I want to be with you long-term. My very first person that worked for me here in my house, she was with me for over 4 years. We only parted ways because I moved too far for her to get there. And I said, you can still come out there if you want to. The two ladies I have now, they come from very long, far distances, and, it's a great relationship, and they're here. And of course, I'm going to support that as much, as long, and as far as I can, but we're still going to have a contract, And so it's just one of those things where they don't look in the long term. And I've talked to locals about this. It's like kind of just a very opportunistic mentality. It's like, what can I get right now? Not, okay, I paid for assistance. This person's paying me for assistance. I'm going to give them my best legal advice. We're going to sort through this, and then I'm going to help you prepare for anything. It's like, no, money grab, money grab, and that's it. They just look at you as a ATM machine, and that's it. Now, for me, again, I'm not going to put all full blame on, but it's like, if you don't know something and you go to someone for advice, you expect to get it. So I just want to say, like, you really have to be careful that you are teaming up with the right people. And so those are the five things that I want to talk about is, the 5 reasons why locals get a pass. But it's like, you know what? You need the locals, someone who's really, really on your side, that has insider knowledge of how the system works and really can clarify things. So I have a lady, she's not my employee. She comes in occasionally to help and kind of, advise, translates things, and she has like a few lawyers in her family. And one of the things that, she was kind of giving me insight on is really having someone in place that is able to help you from a law standpoint before you have an issue. Because it's like when you have the issue, everyone's just looking at dollar signs, right? And they're just, and it's unfortunate because honestly, I'm like, I would continue working with you if I felt that you were not just trying to price gouge or trying to get in my pocket. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's kind of hard to avoid all scenarios and situations when you have a business because, it's in a new place, and I would not change anything, but I'm just saying it for you to know. And if you need to partner with someone, I know several I'm going to say females, who have Mexican men in their lives, their boyfriends, husbands, or whatever, who they just kind of are like, let them handle it, right? There's also that whole gender thing as well that can sometimes come into play. But I think it's really important that you still protect yourself with trusted local experts, right? And it's hard to decipher who that is. Sometimes you have to have yes, a Sandra type person who is going to explore, but you also have to understand that they may not always know or have the answers. They may be able to help you communicate things, but they're not always going to know and have the answers because if they've never had that scenario or that situation, or they're not an attorney or they're not a lawyer, they're going to give you their opinion, but it doesn't mean it's factual. And that's what I found. It's like I've gotten a lot of opinions about this matter and none of it makes any sense. No one makes sense. That's it. I always say head from the ass. You don't know their head from the ass, right? I'm sorry. That's just the way I feel. It doesn't mean they don't know anything. It just means I can't get one solid kind of understanding across the board. And, it's like, well, this is what this is, and this is what that is, and whatever. And so in this process, what I decided to hold on to and I will continue to hold on to is one, I'm fine. Okay. You will never break me down, ever. Two is this was something I needed to know because I now have another business, and now I can really find the proper support and the proper things that I need. So this was a lesson that happened in this way, and I'm still good, and I am thriving over here, but I needed to understand this. And okay, this is how I will move and roll in the future. And this is what I will do and how I will look at bringing someone into my space and just being a little bit less like, okay, this is great. No, it's like, okay, this is how I need to operate. I will understand like my rights better, and I'll make sure that those things are set up accordingly. So let's see, why did the contract involve himself with other workers' contract? Didn't involve himself with it. I asked in terms of translating because my workers didn't speak English, and the contract was in Spanish, and I asked him to talk and translate what was in writing and making sure that everybody was in agreement and to sign. Like, this is what it is, and this is how it is, and this is what your hours are, this is what the pay is, and this is your job description and all that. And so I use local people. He was working in that capacity to assist me with those types of things, and that was his job. So it was his job to translate, to do kind of administrative type work and things like this. And so that was one of the things, like whenever there was some information that I needed to communicate, or, at one point, two individuals were having a bit of a conflict, just kind of like, all right, please explain in clear Spanish, this is how we operate here at Casa, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the reason why it wasn't just involving, but in being involved, never said, oh, by the way, I should have one of those myself. So to me, that's unethical. I don't like working with unethical people. Yeah. I hope there's a running list of not so ethical candidates. Yes, absolutely. So we can have a green book or preferred vendor list for our community. Listen, hit me up. I will pass down. Do not hire this person ever, right? So there are some people that I can highly recommend. And then I would say for the most part, most people I can recommend. Some people I just would be like, no, don't work with them. And it's unfortunate because I have a tendency oftentimes to refer people all the time to, whether it's a realtor, contractor, plumber, an electrician, a gardener, whatever it might be, drivers. You all, for everyone who's been here, you have a phone number for my driver and drivers. So it's my driver with his drivers. And this is the way the world works, is networking with people, being ethical, being straightforward, being honest, and not lying your way through life, right? Pamela, hi Michelle, indeed Sandra is great. I'm just tuning in. We'll run this back. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Pamela. Thanks for being here. Excellent lessons learned are just experiences that prepare you for the next level. Absolutely. And that's how I choose to look at all the challenges that I've had here from a business standpoint. And I think a part of it is, for myself, I've always been that person who wants to do the right thing. I want to operate properly. I want to be fair. I want to make sure I'm paying my folks. I want to create space for them to be able to come to me. I want to offer them roles and positions if I feel that, one, they're qualified, or they have the motivation to take a new thing on. I want to be the one that's kind of making sure I see that and offering those things. I'm not quick to get rid of people, almost to a fault at times. And I've had businesses before living in Mexico, and I've had people who work for me, and I kind of sometimes I feel sorry for them. I'm just like, oh, I really need the work, but then their work is not doing, they're not doing what they're supposed to. And then I have like, I have to not say be bad guy, but I have to be like, okay, I can't, I'm a small business, I'm working really hard to earn these dollars or these pesos or whatever. And it's like, I need you to step it up. So yeah. Let's see, Pamela, I definitely remember the drivers you work with. They were lifesavers while we were in SMA. Yes, absolutely. They're very flexible. They have, they have information that helps get around the city. I've used them for different things. Some of them are able to, tell you about the city and the different things that are here that maybe we wouldn't know. We drive by it, walk by it a million times and things like that. So they also do long distance. So I'm very excited about working with them. So those are the things that I feel are really important. And Sand, welcome. Can you recommend your preferred driver here? No. I will, you can send me an email, okay? I don't want my preferred driver's phone number blasted out here on YouTube. You can write to info@casaelm.com, and that will be a space for you to get that information, okay? I don't put phone numbers on here. They've been taken advantage of all of a sudden. I'll tell you, with my drivers, it's not the Uber prices, but it's typically one flat price. So feel free to send me, like I said, send an email to info@casaelm.com, and then we can send it there, okay? I don't want to put their information on here like that. Especially phone numbers. I don't do that. And I don't like when people pass my phone number on to people that I don't know. I'll just be like, who is this? But what I wanted to say too is, cultural and social networks, those are like good places for you to kind of be able to get protected and protect yourself from, just like things that you don't know. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. There's a lot that we don't know. Like that's something that, like, how could I even fathom that a freelancer is suddenly going to become an employee that wasn't an employee? I wouldn't know that, And so, especially when they're like billing me every week on an invoice with their business name on it, right? It's like, what is my defense here? So I just wanted to get on here and really talk about that. Ways is like, really create a local network when you're not in a situation that it's an issue or a problem, right? Meaning, I feel like when it becomes a problem, the people you go to that are supposed to help you, they kind of take advantage of the situation because they see you as being in a position of vulnerability, maybe, like you're not sure what to think or whatever. And I can tell you this, that one, everything moves super slow, and two, it's going to work itself out. Like I remember when I had, initially when I came here, I had some issues where I was trying to figure out like what papers and permits and all this stuff, and it was like, the city was like asking, do you have this, do you have that? And I was just kind of like, oh my God, like, what do I need? I already asked about this and I already filed and all this stuff, and in the end, it was just this very slow, drawn out process that took it felt like almost a year. And I remember the attorney at the time, he says, you can go home and stress if you want to, or you can just live your life because, it's going to be what's going to be and it'll get figured out. And I remember thinking like, when and what do I do? And then so with this other process, it was just kind of like, I was like, not that I don't care, but I was less stressed and emotionally drained from it. I was just kind of like, okay, it's going to be what it's going to be. I remember the stuff came and I was like, I'm going on vacation. Like I'm about to go to a whole cruise, enjoy my life, go to Jamaica and whatever. And, when I get back, we'll see what's going to be. And it took, all this time. And then moving beyond all of that, it was just kind of like this whole scenario where it just feels like a waste of time, to be honest with you. And so that's why I'm sharing this tonight specifically, is, if you can learn the language, it can definitely help more with the understanding, but getting someone you really trust to translate, and that's what I did, to really find someone who can translate. If you can hire a bilingual lawyer or somebody bilingual to write contracts for you, you really explain to them what you're looking for, what you need, and all the things. I think that it's important for you to do that, right? Don't take it for granted, because sometimes when things happen like that, it feels like a sting, it feels unfair, but if that's their law, that's their law. It's just better to know and protect yourself. And these are the things that I'm talking about. These are the top 5 things. There are very different legal expectations, especially for foreigners, right? I just feel like foreigners in the US also sometimes get taken advantage of, or they miss out on things because they didn't understand the process because of the language, or the law is different from what they know and what they're used to in their country. So it is kind of the same thing in reverse. So I'm not saying that it's wrong or that, whatever. It's just, if someone knows how to take advantage of something or someone, unfortunately, it happens a lot, right? Because humans typically, we sometimes will just kind of fall into this lane, like, whatever. Yeah, maybe I'm supposed to pay more benefits to so and so and so, right? But there's a difference when it's not intentional, right? And so for myself, I just kind of was like, okay, all of the people who've worked for me never had to wait for their money. I didn't have them work for a whole week and be like, oh, really don't have it. Like everyone from way back when I was in Florida, when I had my businesses and things over there, I always made sure my people got paid, even if I was waiting to get paid from a vendor, right? I was always very honest and ethical, and I feel that that's the reason why the blessings continue, period, end of story, and that's it. And there's nothing that someone else does is going to stand in the way of that. And so that's why I said what I said, in terms of, you put in your own work, you do your own good, you live in a clear space where you're not taking advantage of people. And no matter what someone does, even if they try to take advantage of you, that your blessings will never be blocked, ever, okay? Because your intentions are in the right place. That doesn't mean, you don't be mindful, you're not taking the steps. It just means that you take that lesson, you learn, and you keep it moving, and you put those things in place, and you do what you got to do, right? And believe in what you're doing, and that your good is going to be for good and returned with good. So, and that's what I tried to explain to my worker, because she was highly upset and highly fiery about all of it. And I said, when this case started, Hacienda Elm wasn't even in my spectrum and in my viewpoint. And by the time it was finished, I was launching a new business. Okay, that's enough. Like, I felt that, okay? So I just wanted to put that out there. Khadijah, did you dream of having Casa Elm before you relocated to SMA? No, I didn't. I actually dreamed of having women's retreats because I was coming from Florida, working a lot, single mom even there at the time. And I just felt that, the go, do. And I thought I would have like retreats where moms, didn't have to be single moms, but moms who had like a lot going on, whether they were business owners, because I was a business owner there, married, house moms, whatever type of mom you were, even a mom to a child that wasn't yours, that they could come and have rest and wellness and just clarity, rejuvenate and things like that. And that's what I thought I was going to do. And I feel that I have been able to create a healing space for so many people, not just women, but Casa Elm really is a healing space where you can, see clarity for your life and move forward and do all the things that is necessary for you to just connect with, and more. So I'm doing what I can, but I'm also doing more, if that makes sense. And that's what I dreamed about. Let's see. And foreigners take advantage of other foreigners as well. Unfortunately, I've experienced that too. Yeah, it's true. It's true. It happens. I mean, I think it happens. I think sometimes it's intentional or unintentional. I think even sometimes the perception can be, that someone is taking advantage and, like, how do I explain this? Like for myself, having this business, I've learned that I can't do a bunch of things for free, right? Because it's like that one question times 50 people become 50 questions. And sometimes it can be in a day, in a week, and in time. And so I think that sometimes people don't value because for them it's simple. It's simple in their world, right? Oh, do you know blah, blah. Oh, can you tell me this? I even had someone recently asking me if I could make them some reservations. I was like, what? And I just had to like clear my mind and hit the delete button because I just didn't understand, like, how do we go from, Michelle, super busy, single mom, 2 businesses now, to you're not, you're retired. And even if you don't speak the language, like there's got to be someone in your world that can do this for you. Why are you asking me this question? And whatever, just because you have my number. So, my whole thing is that I don't think people do it intentionally. I think it just happens and they don't quite respect your time and your thing or whatever. So I've gotten to a space now because I've worked really long and hard where if you, put your hard-earned dollars into my hard-earned dollars and my hard-earned space and that I'm trying to create, this environment and experience for you and you come here, yes, you can, I can help you in the capacity that you came here to be helped, right? And also understanding that anytime we do things, whether it's my VA helps by making an arrangement, by making a call, by setting up an appointment, there's a cost for that because I have to pay her to do these things. And if you came for one thing specifically, which is, let's keep it as basic. Okay, I came to stay at Casa as a guest. That's perfectly fine. We welcome everyone who wants to come. But understanding that, with that is the soft landing, is the space. We provide some foods and breakfast and stuff, unless there's more that's included in the package, but that people kind of understand and respect, the work. So I think that it happens in scenarios where, yes, foreigners are going to take advantage of foreigners, but also that locals are taking advantage of foreigners and people are doing things. And sometimes in their mind, they feel justified. We just don't really know what they're thinking about, what they're doing, and maybe this person feels like they were justified in, oh, I was doing all this and then suddenly I don't have the same work, I don't have the same money and income. And unfortunately, I feel like the law in this regard was not set up. And if I had like more time and money to waste on it, I probably would have said, let's go to court, like let's go to trial, because I do believe it would have been dismissed. Because I remember the person who was kind of like our mediator just kind of looked at it like this is nonsense, But anyway, the point of tonight is to just kind of bring that to the forefront, share, being as transparent as possible. And that foreigners can sometimes be seen as, a temporary scenario or more naive to situations and things like this. And so it's important to, share experiences, even if you feel like kind of embarrassed by them. I just kind of am like, okay, this happened, I learned, and I'm going to look at the brighter side of things, which I already said over and over. It prepared me for something else. And that's where I am right now. Last point, Khadijah, yes, you have done that, and so much more is now generational healing with the addition of Hacienda Elm. Thank you. That is the intention, and I will continue to shine my light out here and continue to do Mashal and do the things that I feel very passionate about. This won't deter me. It doesn't deter me at all. You know, I'm just kind of like this. Take that hand of sand, throw it to the back, let my ancestors deal with that, and we keep it moving. You know, I'm a very spiritually grounded person, and I don't mean like solely in Bible and Christianity and religion. I'm more so like in my ancestral roots and how I feel about things, and the things that I feel protect me and my life, and how I can walk in faith. You know, I had someone yesterday was like, oh my God, like, you know, Hacienda Elm was such a bold, courageous move. I'm proud of you, but I just still can't even believe like you're doing this, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, why? You know, and sometimes maybe it feels a little bit of like a immature answer or response. And, you know, but I believe in what I feel right here. And that's the reason why I'm in this space, Casa Elm, and hopefully in praying all the things and the blessings pour over into, I should say here in this space, Casa Elm, and pours over to Hacienda. I do believe in that. Yeah, goodness begets goodness. That's it. Anyway, thank you all for being here tonight. Appreciate you. I hope this was helpful. Again, you know, the points are to protect yourself, get a contract, you know, even if you have to pay a local attorney, make sure you do that. Make sure it's very well defined. If you need assistance with any of these things, you know, you can book a consultation, maybe just worth it for you to go directly to an attorney. But if you want to talk through like a business type thing, feel free to do that. By booking a consultation. I have lots of information about how you do a brick and mortar and all the things that are involved in doing a brick and mortar, which you should look out for. Yes, you need insurance. Yes, you should have contracts. You know, if you're renting a space, making sure you don't try to sneak and rent a space. You know, like I have people who are like, have rented maybe, I don't know, space to do, for example, someone recently told me about an Airbnb. You need permission from your landlord, okay? Just saying. I know that there are a lot of people building those kind of businesses out there. Here, if you want real permission, you need permission from your landlord. You need to get, you know, proof of taxes paid and all the things, okay? So this is what I'm here to offer. If you're interested in that, you can go to casaelm.com, go to consultations and book a consultations, whether it's for a relocation relocation strategy session or a business strategy session. If you want to do business in Mexico, if you need help with contracts and things like that, this is a good way. Save yourself the headache and time and the hassle of all the things that I just talked about tonight. All right, everyone, peace out. Thank you so much for being here. Please be sure to join me next month. I'm gonna really harp more on Hacienda Elm, its purpose, and all the things that we're doing over there. Okay, appreciate you. Peace.